Howdy, welcome to level 2 of Level Up Producing, where we will be doing a lo-fi beat. As you can probably tell from that cold open, we got a comment in the last video in level 1, go check it out, great video, from a lovely Millie Fleet, wonder who that is, who suggested that we do The Office. So we're going to do The Office theme lo-fi. The plan is simple. We're going to break this down into a few different levels. Today's level, we are going to create a 4-bar beat. In that 4-bar beat, we're going to have 4 instruments, 4 tracks. We're going to have some drums, a sub, some pads, and a lead. You're not going to need one of these. You're just going to need one of these. We're just going to use a computer keyboard, and you're going to need a DAW. If you don't know what a DAW is, go check out level 1. I've put some links in the description to get some free trials of some DAWs. Go download a DAW. I'm going to jump into mine now. Let's hit it. Let's start with drums. You're going to go up here and click on the Inspector tab to bring this open. And you're going to go down to where this little arrow is. And you're going to click on this double arrow and find Drum Machine Designer. It's going to bring up this. And you can program in exactly what sounds you want for each of the different instruments. Your kick, your snare, your hi-hat, etc. Don't click on this right inspector, which is specifically for this kick over here. We're going to click on this left inspector. So click on the little arrow to the left. And then that's going to allow us to do a preset for the full grid here. And we're going to choose Cinematic Funk. Because when you think of The Office, you think Cinematic Funk. Yeah, you do. And now it's loaded in all of these things that it's got set for Cinematic Funk. You got your kick, your snare, your hi-hat. And that's cool. And some extra funky good stuff that we really don't need. But that's alright. Alt and Shift. I can zoom in. And now we've only just got these 4 bars up here. I'll click the cycle because we're only going to cycle these 4 bars as well. That's what this yellow bar does. It's going to cycle those 4 bars. And hit P. It's going to open the piano roll down here. Now, you can input into these tracks here all of the different MIDI information you want to put in, which we'll explore later. But Logic has this cool thing called Step Sequencer. Command backspace. So, now you see up here we've got this grid for the 4 bars. And if I click a kick in this first square here, you'll see 4 kicks appear there. Because this grid here represents 1 bar. That bar is broken down into 16 steps, shown by here, these 16 steps. And those steps refer to this little thing down here, which is /16, which stands for 16th notes, or semiquavers, as we call them in Australia, because we're not weird. Alright, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to make a standard drum beat. So I'm going to put kick on 1 and 3, I'm going to put snares 1, 2, and 4, and I'm just going to put hi-hats on everything, see how that sounds. Now that's pretty fast, pretty busy, so we don't want it to be that busy. The first thing we want to do is we want to go up here. We want to make this much more chill. Let's go down to like 73. And I don't like it being on all of the beats, so I'm going to make this. The other thing I want to do is I want to add some accents to the off beats of the hi-hat and make the on beats of the hi-hat a little less. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on this little arrow here. We're just going to bring up these 2 rows. One of these is velocity. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to reduce the velocity of all the on the beat ones and keep the off the beat ones a little higher. And I'm not going to make them even because that way it's going to sound a bit more natural. We're going to add a bit of spice into the snare. Add some snare maybe on those ones. Yeah, get rid of mess around the velocities here as well. I'm going to add one more thing. What I'm going to do is I'm going to add an extra little flary bit to the hi-hats, and what I'm going to do is I want that to happen in the 2nd bar. So if I extend this to 32 steps, it's going to duplicate that pattern. I'm going to add a little something there in the hi-hat, go back to my row here, and go to this 2nd row, which is for note repeat, and I'm going to make this basically says I'm going to put a number of extra notes in this one subdivision. I'm going to change it like 4, and then we're going to skip ahead to hear it, and you get that kind of sounds a bit trappy, but it'll work in this instance. Cool, and that is drums. Let's move to sub. I'm going to go over here in my library and search sub. This full sub is the way to go. So I click on the sub, I hit Command K to bring up my keyboard. We have a sub. We're going to use 2 chords for this song. We're going to do it in the key of C because it makes it easier. We're going to have a C chord and we're going to have an F chord. So in the first bar of the sub, I'm going to use a bunch of C's. Second bar of the sub, I'm going to use a bunch of F's. So that's going to be this one for the C, this one for the F. So the A key on your computer keyboard is your C, confusing, and your F key on your computer keyboard is an F. I'm going to click on the track, make sure the little R here is red for record. If it's not like that, it won't record. And then I'm going to go up here and we're going to lay down a bit of a beat. Cool, and that's our sub. I'm going to double click on this region. It's a little bit messy. Now, if we want to keep like a proper groove, you probably don't want to do what I'm about to do too much because it's going to sound too electronic, too computerized, like it's made in a machine. But what I'm going to show you is this thing called quantize. So if I click on this region here and do Command A to select all these things, you'll notice that they're not all lining up exactly on the grid. Now, my drums are lining up exactly on the grid. So in order to fully lock in with the drums, I'm going to use this thing called quantize. So what quantize is going to do is, depending on this subdivision here, where it's going to make little minor adjustments depending on how much strength you give it to come closer to where they align to on the grid. It's easier if I just show you. So if I've selected them all and I go across here, you'll see they're making little minor adjustments. So at a space 100, strength 100, you'll see that they all line up exactly with the grid. So if I hit play, exactly on the grid, take it away. A little bit of a delay, right on the grid. I like that. Cool. And that's the sub done. Now we're going to move to pads. The pads are going to be the entire chordal information we have in this piece. So any kind of vibe, any kind of flavor is going to come from the pads. So I'm going to go up into here and click on this thing called Alchemy. Now Alchemy, it is quite intimidating when you first open it because there are so many instruments. In fact, there are 3,474 different presets here you can use, and all of them have down here this little spectrum here. So if I do Command K, bring up my thing, and I just click on any one of these, abstract electric piano, and then I move this around. Infinite amount of instruments in here. It's insane. But we want to find a nice pad sound. So they've added in these little categories to make it a bit more helpful. So I'm going to go into pads, I'm going to go into all, make an ambient, nice and simple pad. There it is. Sea of possibilities. Isn't that so nice? Sea of possibilities. We got cinematic funk, and now we got a sea of possibilities. The Office, love it. And I want to make it a nice soft swell. Now, what I could do is I could play along and record just like before, or I can show you how to click it in using the MIDI piano pad. Hit P, and we're going to bring up this little piano roll here. Now, you'll see up here, there's a little pencil here. If there's not a pencil here, just click here and make there be a pencil in the right box. Hold down Command, the pencil's going to show up, and now you can click in notes wherever you want. And it's going to program in those notes as if you've right and pressed them, like you played them. I want to put in a C2. Beautiful. And that C is going to go for the full bar. So we're going to build a C chord here. Nice and simple. So I want there to be a stack here. We're going to make a triad. So if I click on this and hold Alt and Shift up, it's going to duplicate that note. We don't want to put it there. That'll be C minor. We want C major. Put it on the E. Oh, I've made a boo-boo and held down Alt. Delete that boy. We're going to take this, go up to the G, and now we have C major triad. Nice. Now, because it's lo-fi, there's a little bit of jazz influence, little bit. So we want to add a little bit of jazz spiciness here. So we're going to add a 7th note in here, major 7th on the B, and make a C major 7 chord. Sounds like this. Oh yeah, that is jazzy.
Jazz is stupid. I mean, just play the right notes.
So if we go up here, we just drag this across to make it 2 bars. We're now going to take this chord and we're going to make an F chord. So we did our C chord. Now we're going to do our F chord. So we're going to select all of these notes, hold Alt, shift it across. Now we've got 2 C chords, and I want to shift this guy up until I see F at the bottom. Now I've held down Alt here, which means it's going to duplicate, and that's not good. We don't want that. So let's get rid of that. Don't hold Alt, shift it up, go to the F2. Now we got out. Excellent. Now, I'm going to make him a bit softer, and I'm also going to reduce the delay a bit. There's a bit of delay, and I don't want there to be so much delay. We're not quite done, because if we go up here, you'll notice we need to do 4 bars, and there are only 2 bars in the pads. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to press L to loop it, and then just cut it off by pressing the top right corner there, which will now just loop it for exactly 4 bars. All coming together, all coming together. Let's go to the lead in just an electric piano for now. We're going to change that sound later. But we're going to record this using the keyboard. So we're going to do Command key. There's our keyboard, and we're going to play this. What is it?
Oh my god! Okay, it's happening! Everybody stay calm!
Alright, so now I'm gonna give this a record. Click here, make sure this is recording, and we're just gonna rip right through and see how we go. Alright, so I made a couple mistakes in there, but you'll also notice perhaps this will happen to you, and you'll see you play here and it just stops because it's made a take folder here because we're looping up here with the cycle. So if you click this little arrow here, it's going to bring up our 2 takes. This is the good take, so we want to keep that. So we click that, click the little arrow, click the little thing next to it. We're going to flatten it, and now it's just that 1 take, and we've lost the other take, which is good. Now what we're going to do is we're going to double click this, and we're going to go in and edit my mistakes. First bit's completely correct, and then I kind of fall apart in this second phrase here. So all of these notes kind of wrong. So I'm going to select them all, shift them up, see if that works. Not quite. I'm going to solo my lead so I know what I'm listening to. Get rid of cycle so I can actually click. So this is wrong. Perfect. I'm going to quantize it just a little bit, just so it's all nice and neat. I'm not going to do 100 because that's a bit much, and I was pretty on time, just maybe like 50. And then turn those pads down a bit. Now, I don't really like this sound, so I'm going to show you the magic of MIDI. So the good thing, and I mentioned this in my level 1, but you can make any instrument you want, and all you need is this keyboard. So I've just laid it down with just my computer keyboard, but now I'm going to turn it into, let's turn it into a guitar. Yeah. Now it's an acoustic guitar. What else can we do that's crazy? Filthy bass. Not gonna make it that. That's too much.
That's what she said!
But that's the magic of music production. It can be anything you want. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna turn it into a music box because I think that has a nice lo-fi feel to it. But it's a bit low, so I need to make them go up an octave. So I'm gonna select them all, and there's a hotkey, Alt Shift up. There we go. Hotkey of the day. There you go. There's a good segment. Hotkey of the day. Right. So the hotkey of the day to make your MIDI information go up and down is to go Alt, Shift, and direction arrow up. Amazing. Make that louder. There we go. Drums a bit softer. That is our lo-fi beat. We've got 4 tracks, we've got 4 bars, we did it. Congrats. I think we leveled up. What? Here we go, lads and ladettes. Level 2, lo-fi beat. Let's chuck it on the wall. I know what you're thinking. The beat, it still has some ways to go, but just like the Office seasons, the more seasons you go, the better it gets. So just like this, you gotta come back for the next season for level 3, baby. Woo! Level 3, we're gonna chuck some plugins in there, and it's gonna take it from this to this.
Bears beats Battlestar Galactica.
Yeah, so come back next week, and we're gonna chuck some plugins. Okay, bye.
Michael! Oh, that's funny. Michael!